Here with us now, former federal prosecutor Daniel Goldman, lead counsel on former President Trump's first impeachment. He is now running for Congress in New York. And Danya Perry, former federal prosecutor. Danya, to you, a witness swears to this under oath. What do you do with it as a former federal prosecutor? If a witness told you this, that would set off what?
It makes the case. I mean, she is a witness who has no axe to grind against the former president or any of the targets. She is not motivated to testify against him. She had everything to lose in testifying. And she went out there. She was clear. She was strong. And she gave some very damning testimony. As you know, we'd heard about, as she said, from Pat Cipollone, there were all kinds of crimes that they were potentially on the hook for. But what we heard from her yesterday was seditious conspiracy.
Why?
We heard that this was something, there's an effort to defraud the United States. There's an effort to impede or hinder the electoral votes. Those are serious crimes. But to do that by force, that's when you get into sedition. And that is one of the most serious crimes that is in the statute books. And we heard about the knowing use of force that Trump himself and some of those around him weaponized this crowd, this mob, and sent them in there knowing that they were going essentially to use force to stop the count. And that's as serious as it gets. And she was very clear in her testimony.
So let's take that on the flip side. She's your star witness. You're a federal prosecutor. What are the vulnerabilities in your case in pursuing one against former President Donald Trump with her as your star witness?
Well, a lot of what she said is hearsay, and it's probably not admissible. Every time she was saying what Ornato said to her, you would need Ornato's actual testimony. So it was incredibly sensational. It was incredibly powerful. It paints a picture of a completely deranged and unhinged president of the United States. In fact, for me, this testimony is what you would want in a trial to bring the evidence to life. I actually think legally, there's a lot of other sort of more technical testimony about what Donald Trump's knowledge was, especially as it relates to the coup. But what she said yesterday just paints this really vivid picture. And if you were to go to trial, you want both. You want the technical evidence to get there, but you also want the impactful, powerful evidence.
Let's be clear. In a trial, let's talk about what would have been struck, right? There's no valet talking even about what happened with the ketchup on the wall and what caused that, right? There's that wouldn't be admissible.
You'd have to get more people to testify.
The entire incident inside the beast, you'd have to get that from somebody else.
Right. I mean, yes, but this is, again, that's not critical evidence. I mean, it's great fun for us. I mean, not fun, but it's wild evidence to hear that this is the President of the United States grabbing the steering wheel of his car, throwing a hamburger against the wall. But it is not evidence that is going to make or break the case. What to me jumped out so much from this is, yes, of course, his knowledge of violence. I'm not quite yet at seditious conspiracy because I'm closer there with Mark Meadows, who wanted to go to the Willard Hotel the night before and clearly knew that there was something going on that he wanted to be a part of. And I think there's a lot more to investigate as it relates to Mark Meadows. But Donald Trump gets him closer to obstructing Congress. This connects him to the violence. This makes him know that the violence that was going to the Capitol to interfere with the electoral count was going to happen, and that is obstruction of Congress. We've already talked on this show about my views that he should be charged with conspiracy to overturn the election. But what really, and I think Ellie really put it so plainly earlier, that is just so remarkable is the number of times that Donald Trump was approached to say, hey, things are really bad. We need to stop it. And rather than stop it, he wanted to go there and join it.
Merrick Garland. I mean, What is he thinking this morning? Put yourself in Merrick Garland's seat. And it's not an easy one to be in at this point. But what do you think he's weighing?
It's been a question we've been asking ourselves for a long time now. It's hard to listen to that testimony and say, we'll take a pass. Whether it's seditious conspiracy, whether it's conspiracy to defraud the United States, he's got to be looking at this. It checks off a lot of the elements of a lot of these crimes. And as Dan said, it also tells the story in very human, dramatic terms. I mean, the ketchup on the wall, first of all, that's almost a textbook case of circumstantial evidence, right? Don't they charge the jury with that? You can consider that evidence. You hear angry voices, you walk in, there's ketchup dripping down the wall. But that is the kind of thing that grabs a jury's attention. So we had all of that. We have actually, ticking off the boxes for what the criminal conspiracy is. And then we have someone filling in a lot of the details that will matter to a jury. And yeah, as Dan pointed out, we do need other testimony. This should hopefully light a fire under some of these other witnesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes Merrick Garland's job easier. And I think that in the end, what these hearings are doing is it is making it easier for Merrick Garland to charge the case. Because remember, when the DOJ charges the case, it is in an indictment. It is in a piece of paper. And you don't actually hear the evidence or know what's going on. And in a federal trial, it would not be on television. So we would never really see, as the public, what all the evidence is until the actual trial. But now we've seen the most powerful and sensational, and we've heard it, and we understand it, and there's a visual. So if and when Merrick Garland charges it, the public understands what he's charging. And I think that makes his job easier.
Danya, Daniel, thank you both so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
So how